Today is adoption day. You're at the courthouse. You're adopting your child. What's the single most important thing, Shuri, to remember this day?
To make it as special as possible because you only get one adoption day. It's like their actual birthday.
And what happens this day? I mean, you're at the courthouse, but what actually happens inside? I mean, what can people expect who haven't done it yet? What actually occurs?
You go, well, you get a court date and time. And depending on the day that you go, like, because we've had three of them. So, um, the first two that we had were both not on National Adoption Day. The third one was, so it's made a bigger deal of.
Mm,
So you can invite whatever family, friends, whoever you want to come into your adoption in the court. Everyone waits in a big room, so there's all kinds of families and kids, and people will have balloons and flowers and all kinds of stuff. Um, and then
right.
you get called into the courthouse. Your Usually your caseworker will be there, the caseworker supervisor will be there, and your resource worker will be there. Those are the three people that usually come from the foster agency. And then, of course, the judge and, everyone that works at the courthouse, the family members and friends, and everyone from DCP&P will sit in the back of the courtroom. You, as the family, will go to the one bench, and the state lawyer will be on the other side. And your lawyer, of course, will be with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're appointed a lawyer long before this. They usually give you a list, and then you pick from that, and you call and make arrangements for them to meet you at the courthouse. So you basically don't really have to do much other than answer, I think it's like three questions. And then they ask the child a couple of questions. And it's basically just to confirm that, yes, you are here not against your will. Yes, you do want to adopt this child. Yes, you do understand that you're responsible for this child until they're 18 years old. And, same kind of thing that they ask the child. And then usually they give you, at least in New Jersey, they give each child a teddy bear. And then you get pictures with the judge. You can, take as much time as you want in the actual courtroom. And then your time's up, and then you go and celebrate and, do whatever you have planned to do.
Yeah. So, what I remember, just for you at home, some of you have already adopted children, is I put each child onto my shoulders. It was amazing. I mean, in the court. I mean, the judges there. Do they take pictures there, or like when you're inside? Is
Yeah.
is it is it like just is it just people who are adopting, or are there other cases? Like how does it
When
actually
you
work?
go into the courtroom, it's just your family and whoever you invite into the courtroom. It's
Mm-hmm.
not everybody else that's there for an adoption. Everyone is allotted their time to go. And when you're done, then you leave and the next family comes in. So it's not like everyone is,
Okay.
hearing all your information or, experiencing your day. It's whoever. I mean, you can invite half your family there, and you can have everybody but your mom and dad, grandma and grandpa. They're the only ones that are allowed in the courtroom, and everybody else has to wait outside. You basically decide what happens that day and how it works.
So, how did we get here? Because in our case, and we're foster parents, but anyone who's adopted, this doesn't happen overnight. What's the process? What was our process?
Well, almost all of our kids we've had at least 3 years before they were adopted. Um, some of them were, well, two of them were more, way more than that. Were like almost 5, maybe even close to 6 years. Um,
Mm,
so it depends on, each case is different. Once you get through all of the legal mumbo jumbo and you go to court and the judge says, okay, the legal rights, of the parents are taken, or parents could also, or biological parents could also sign over rights if that happens, or once that happens, or the judge takes their rights, then you move on to the adoption unit. The adoption unit then, does basically a whole big report that usually can take anywhere from probably 2 to 6 months, depending on how much of your paperwork is up to date, and then it gets put through the court, so then you get a court date set. They try to set a court date after that paperwork's done as soon as possible.
mm,
It's usually between like 2 weeks and 2 months, depending on how backed up they are. We were lucky enough to have our last adoption of our daughter on National Adoption Day, and they make that a huge deal in New Jersey. They had like a big party afterwards. We went to the Funplex, and they had food and the kids could go and play, and like they just loved it. It was like the best thing to them because they got to do so much in that one day. But after your adoption, I mean, you can do whatever you want. Like, people usually will do like a party, even if it's something small at home. Or like we did, we waited a couple of months for our
right.
boys and we had both of their parties together. And then our daughter, we waited a couple months after hers also and had her party at a park. Um, so like we tried to make it as special as possible
Mm.
on that day, but then also, like, they each got their parties. They wanted to have their parties, so we had adoption parties for them.
So, what's an adoptiversary? This is something we do every year, and you may want to do at home, or maybe you do. What's that about?
Well, I call it adoptiversary. Most people call it their gotcha day. Um, so basically, what a gotcha day or an adoptiversary is the anniversary of their adoption. So what we do for our kids, they get their birthday every single year. So we also celebrate an adoptiversary, which is the day of their adoption, the anniversary of their adoption. And they each get to pick a cake. We try to do like a little bit of a decoration, maybe like, tablecloth and like balloons or something like that, to kind of fancy things up and just make it special. Um, but they love that is their favorite. Like, they could care less about their birthday. The adoptiversary is such a big deal to them. It's like, oh, you can't miss that. And they each make such a big deal about the other one's adoptiversary also. It's not just like, oh, theirs. They care about each of their adoptiversaries.
Yeah, and I look at this for, and maybe you do at home who are adopting or have adopted, as kind of like for non-biological parents, almost like your birthday.
Yeah,
Because you didn't have the child, but I mean, this is when they're legally yours, correct?
it's really better than their actual birthday because 9 times out of 10 the kids are older,
Mm-hmm.
at least old enough to realize that they're being adopted. I mean, you like our youngest, she was what, 4 when she was adopted.
Right.
And the boys were older than that. So like they're old enough to realize what's going on. They're old enough to, to get it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's more, I think, fun than the actual day of their birth, because you get to experience so much more with them. Like our daughters, which was on National Adoption Day, they also had a big deal at the courthouse. She was so thrilled. The Eagles cheerleaders were
Hmm.
there. She wanted that picture so bad with those Eagles cheerleaders, and that is something that she will never forget, that she got to do on her adoptiverse, or her adoption day, and nobody else got that. She got that.
Yeah, this is a short episode. This is, and I'll pretend to have a cigar. This is the one day, the best day, and I still remember it. And you probably will at home if you haven't adopted your child yet, or you're about to, or you have. You know this. This truly is the day you remember. Remember, you just don't forget
It
this
makes
day.
all of the hard parts that you go through for years
Yeah,
all worth it in
yeah.
that one day.
Yeah. So don't forget this is really the happy episode. Please subscribe, please like, please comment, leave your comments below. We'll see you next time, and check out, if you need it, for the times where it's not always the best day ever, because this is the greatest day ever, Adoption Day. So check out our relaxing sounds of the waves.